All right, so are you ready for more Batman the Animated Series? Because we're about to watch some. So, last time I watched Night of the Ninja, and the episode before that I watched The Underdwellers. But somehow HBO Max managed to skip over Perchance to Dream, which is actually one of the best episodes of the show. Of all the episodes to skip up over, why would you skip over Perchance to Dream? That's horrible. But we're going to go ahead and watch it right now. This is a very interesting episode that I feel like goes very deep into the psychology of Batman slash Bruce Wayne. So let's go ahead and get started with it. Oh, Darkseid's over here. Move him over there so he's not distracting. All right. Da-na-na-na-na. And we're going to get a little bit of blonde Selena Kyle in this episode. So one of my favorite Superman comics is one of the Superman annuals. Alan Moore wrote it. Dave Gibbons drew it. It's called For the Man Who Has Everything, in which Superman falls victim to a plant called the Black Mercy, which causes him to hallucinate like this dream world. It's supposed to be this world where every fantasy is fulfilled, but it takes like a dark dystopian turn. And I like to think that's because Superman's mind is trying to break out of it, so it's trying to make it like a nightmare world, so he'll want to escape it. But I kind of feel like this episode was probably written as an homage to that one, because it's kind of like that for Batman. And in fact, in that comic book, spoilers on a 40-year-old comic book if you haven't read it, when Batman gets the Black Mercy wrapped around him, we get to see a little bit of his fantasy where Thomas Wayne actually manages to subdue Joe Chill, and the Waynes aren't killed in that world. And in that one, he says he's married to Kathy Kane, but of course, Kathy Kane isn't a character in this show, so she's not going to appear. But that does kind of illustrate how, like, I kind of feel like Alan Moore's version of Batman, even in the dark and gritty world he's in, he's actually more like that early Silver Age kind of Batman. If you go back and read it, and the way the character acts a lot of the times, he's really more like that early Silver Age Batman than, say, a Frank Miller Batman, or even a Dennis O'Neil, or a Batman the Animated Series kind of Batman. Batman chasing these hoodlums. So far, this is all pretty familiar Batman stuff, even tropey. But then it gets knocked out, wakes up back in his bed. Like I was Robert Pattinson. Alfred has no idea who Robin is. He must be in the Christopher Nolan universe. I just think I makes breakfast, man. You want to bang some chick named Robin? That's your own business. I'm just Alfred. And Bruce is like uber confused, and he can't get into the Batcave because there is no Batcave. And he's in his Batman voice right now. Sassy Bruce Wayne. It's sassy. And this is also Kevin Conroy as the voice of Thomas Wayne. He kind of pitches his voice down a little bit when he's Thomas, but it's still recognizably him. If you remember, last time we heard Thomas Wayne's voice, it was Richard Mall doing Thomas Wayne.
Good. Glad you'll be there. Your mother and I have appointed you this morning. On the golf course.
You wanted your dad back. Well, you're going to have to deal with dad jokes. The same brown suit and yellow shirt you always wear.
It's not. Would you tell me about my life? Just human, please.
God, this guy with his ego again.
It's your problem, child. When Lucius Fox. Not that you hate me. That's all right now. Go on. Unless that changed since last night, your command is getting cut. It's all wrong. What is wrong? Unless
I mean, you could be a crazy man who dresses in a rubber bat suit to beat up poor people, all the while not giving a crap about your city and letting your parents' charity become a slush fund for corrupt politicians and organized crime. And you might not even know how to speak Spanish or defuse a bomb. You might not be able to catch the river and let your city get flooded. Much, much worse lives you could be living. Yeah, take off that glove.
It's crazy. Oh, Batman.
The animation with like the triple take and then him looking out the window and seeing Batman, and then the way it angles up to him when he sees Batman. Oh, it's awesome. And he goes running downstairs. Now here's something that should be a clue to you that not everything is right. If you didn't already figure out that everything's kind of messed up here, it should be a big clue that Batman is just out and about during the daytime. He doesn't really do that on this show. I think we've seen Batman out in the daytime once on this show so far, and it was because there was some kind of emergency. But this time he just seems to be kind of out on patrol and happens to run into some crooks. Sorry to spoil this for anybody who hasn't seen this before, but think about any time you've had a dream. And if you think back to it, there's kind of like this weird dream logic that when you're thinking back on your dream, it doesn't make any sense. But when you're in the dream, you don't question it. It just makes sense to you in the dream because it's that kind of dream logic. And there's a lot of that in this episode, which I think he's never seen Batman in action before. Because he is Batman. He does the bat climb.
No one knows. You just appeared in Gotham a few weeks ago. Bruce, you okay? Bruce, you're beginning to worry. What's this all about? I'm losing my mind. That's
It is nice that, like, in his big dream of like his fantasy life, it's Selena that he's married to.
Even though I'm not a psychiatrist,
And it's nice that Leslie's the person that he turns to here. I've got to imagine in this reality, at least on Leslie's end, even though she's a family friend, she's probably not as close with Bruce in this reality as our Leslie was in our reality. Much like Alfred in this behaves almost more like he's an employee of Bruce, even after having practically raised him. But it's not the same as in our world, where he just generally becomes like a surrogate father to Bruce. Here, Bruce has a father, so there wasn't really any need for Alfred to step up like that, hence why their relationship seems a little more professional. And where he finally is accepting this world and gives his dad a hug.
Why should I be? I like dream, Alfred. Best dream anyone ever had. I'm just preparing those.
Perhaps something brown with a yellow shirt.
You do that.
Then he goes to read the newspaper, and he can't read the newspaper. There's smiling Batman. It's all these jumbled, nonsensical letters. And all the books on the shelf are like a bunch of nonsense. This has got to be hard for a guy who loves his library so much that he color codes all his books.
No. You're wrong. It's all wrong.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is probably something you'll hear me say several times throughout this project where I watch these episodes, and it's worth repeating. Kevin Conroy is a great Batman, and not just a great Batman because of the vocal characterization, which is fantastic. His voice sounds like what Batman's voice always should have sounded like. But he's such a great actor. And since he's a stage actor, he brings, like, I kind of feel like a certain naturalistic feel to it that, like I said, most animated voice actors sound like animated voice actors. There's nothing wrong with that because that's what they are. But him being a stage actor, I kind of feel like brings a little bit more the way he says that. But it brings a little more of a verisimilitude to it. It brings a little more sort of a natural sort of quality to it. And it's like, this guy was born to be Batman. And especially if you can read a comic book. He wrote a comic book about it. It was in one of those DC Pride specials, and you can even find it online. I think DC had it on their website. But his own life and a lot of the traumas he went to, like, he was able to use a lot of that to identify with the character of Batman and bring a lot of that into his performance. And I think that's a big part of why Kevin Conroy is such a great Batman too. It's crazy how Bruce is even hallucinating stuff where he's like not even there. Hmm. And it's kind of cool to see Bruce like doing Batman type stuff and still being really good at it, even without like the costume or the equipment or anything like that. He's going to say later on that this cemetery is part of his nightly patrol. And why do you think a cemetery would be part of Batman's nightly patrol? It's not like there's a lot of crime that goes on in a cemetery. And I think there's a more personal reason for that. I think that this is the cemetery where Bruce's parents are buried. So it's part of the ritual for him to go to this place every night when he starts. Because that is where it all started, is with the death of his parents. They just turned the camera on its side. It's, not that difficult.
You did this to me.
Oh, the nice painted background face there. Very cool. And here we have the confrontation between Bruce Wayne and Batman. Yeah, I'd mentioned earlier the Superman story for the man who has everything, but the idea of the fight between the superhero and the secret identity, that kind of reminds me a little bit of Superman 3, where Superman and Clark Kent fight in the junkyard. So here we have the fight between Batman and Bruce Wayne in the cemetery. Batman's here trying to gaslight him.
You know what's going on. This is a plan. You are the one responsible. Why do you think that? I suspected it from the start. I knew I was right. I tried to read the newspaper.
And I like how Conroy gives Batman a bit more sinister tone here. Whereas Bruce sounds like the real Batman.
It's impossible to read something in the brain. That's true. How is it my fault? I can't explain it. But you're the key to this. I knew you'd be here. This tower is part of my nightly patrol. Now tell me what's going on.
I would actually like to see a little bit more of a fight between those two, but they've only got like 20 minutes to tell this story. But this Batman is no match for Bruce Wayne because he's not the real Batman, as we're about to see. Even in the fantasy, somebody else is under that mask. How often do you think Batman wants to beat up Bruce Wayne, or Bruce Wayne wants to beat up Batman? But off with the mask, and we see that it's... Yep.
This is your dream. You know it. I do. But I will be part of your dream. The mind-controlled apparatus reveals nothing to the real world. Its purpose is to create...
But does anybody think like Jervis wouldn't have really snuck a peek under Batman's cowl? I don't know if he would have been able to resist. I would have done it just out of curiosity.
Bring me back. You don't like the fantasy world that created you? It's not real. Are you the dreamer or merely part of someone's dream? That's just the question we believe to ask it through the looking. This isn't some silly storybook. But it is.
I've mentioned before the Long Halloween, the holiday special, Legends of Dark Knight, Madness, where Mad Hatter's the villain in that, and how Martha Wayne had read Alice in Wonderland to Bruce when he was a child, and it was one of his few happy memories, and how like Jervis kind of was an especially disturbing villain to him because he was a corruption of a beloved childhood memory.
In a moment the police will be here. You want to spend the rest of your free life in our home.
God, like, has he really even done anything that wrong? But again, it's dream logic. Like I said, it doesn't need to make sense in terms of like real life stuff because it's not real life.
You don't want to do anything foolish. This is an ordinary dream. What is your
I'll see you in your nightmares. Nice.
Mr. Wayne? No.
It's a nice animated shot. And then Batman wakes up in the real world. Oh, he can. Batman doesn't need to turn his head. Just call me no one. He's actually crying. Still blames Batman for that. So it's interesting that we've seen Mad Hatter in 2 episodes so far, and both of his evil schemes were not financially related. He was not trying to get any money out of anybody. One, he just wanted to try to, like, control this girl that he was obsessed with, and the other one, he's trying to get revenge on Batman. But he hasn't tried to make any money yet, so that's interesting. All right. So, Kevin Conroy as Batman, Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred, Adrienne Barbeau as Catwoman, interestingly enough, billed as Catwoman, not Selina Kyle, even though she's not Selina Kyle in this episode at all. She's not Catwoman at all in this episode. She's just Selina Kyle. And in fact, he asked her, "Does the name Catwoman ring a bell?" And she doesn't understand at all. Brian Cummings as the reporter. Roddy McDowell, of course, is the Mad Hatter, fantastic as always, and Diana Muldaur as Leslie Tompkins. So yeah, that was Perchance to Dream. I think one of the best episodes of the show. Certainly one of my favorites. Definitely worth checking out again if you haven't already. And let's see, our next episode. Yeah, I clicked on the thing that says more episodes. So let's put that up. I don't want to watch the Underdwellers again. And even then, like once I go to that, it's trying to skip straight to Night of the Ninja, which I already just watched Night of the Ninja, so we don't need to watch that one again. So the next episode will be The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, which actually is kind of similar to it's kind of the same ballpark as Perchance to Dream and the Underdwellers, whereas not Underdwellers, the Forgotten. So the Forgotten is where Bruce Wayne forgets that he's Batman or Bruce Wayne. He's just a blank slate. And then we had Perchance to Dream, in which Bruce starts to think that he's not Batman anymore. And then we have The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, in which somebody is going to, I'll just say it, it's Hugo Strange, uses a mind reading device on Bruce Wayne and figures out that he's really Batman. So it's purely by accident I'll be watching those 2 episodes back to back. That will be the next episode that I watch. And I'm just going to go ahead and get it started. So hopefully it'll just start on that episode next time when I go to we'll watch it. But yeah, that'll be an interesting follow-up episode to that episode. And it does feature, like I said, Hugo Strange. It's kind of loosely based on another one of those Englehart Rogers Batman stories that I love that run of Batman stories. So, but it's just very, very loosely based on it. Basically, the idea of Hugo Strange figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman and tries to auction off the information to the highest bidder. That's everything that it has in common with that comic. But anyway, I really enjoyed watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it with me. If you did, and you want to make sure you catch other episodes in the future, make sure that you like and subscribe and all the other fun YouTube stuff down below. And while you're at it, hit that little bell and turn it to gray. And that will warn you anytime that I'm going live if you want to try to catch one of these while they're actually going on. So that's pretty much it for this one. Next episode of this will be The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne. And we're probably going to have one more action figure unboxing tomorrow as well. We will talk to you next time. Bye.